Hi, it's Stephen from Catamaran Guru, sitting here with Terry and Dina. They were monohull people. They had a Mal, which is a very nice monohull as far as monohulls go. And they've converted to Catamaran now. And in fact, they've so converted to Catamaran that they've joined the Catamaran Guru team. Why did you guys change?
We started off many boats ago. How many boats have you been on a mono?
3 boats so far. The first being the Contessa 26, nice little boat.
That's a very nice little boat.
SL 32, and then the ML Super Maramoo.
Right.
And the ML Super Maramoo served a wonderful purpose. 16,000 miles around the Pacific, comfort, very well built boat, served a great purpose. But the one thing that we always kind of looked at with the catamaran world was the living space and the livability of a monohull versus a catamaran, not just at anchor but also while crossing oceans as well.
Look, you know, if the weather's rough, I'm quite happy to be in a catamaran. But if the weather gets really, really hairy, then I'd like to be back in a monohull. But I try and avoid getting to that stage. You know, Estelle and I did. We did 30,000 miles in our monohull. And you know, after we got out of it and got into a catamaran, we looked at each other and said, you know, we just done 30,000 miles sitting in an empty jacuzzi, because that's what the cockpit kind of resembles.
It's true. It's true. It's true. And you know, there's so much in technology now that you shouldn't need to get into really bad weather. So you should be able to do that. And honestly, the cats are so fast and good now, you can get out of their way.
Yeah.
If you need to. So
I think one of the things that resonates in my mind is when we were at anchor, one of the things that Dina would always talk about is, hey, you know, who are you talking to up there? Oh, what was that went past? Oh, can I climb up on top of the counters and look out the little windows? Things you
never get to even see are how I had to climb up on the settee and get up in the little windows just to see who maybe was out there talking to my husband. So, quite a different world. Everything that I found that I was doing from the basement. And you got to be up on top deck and enjoying sailing, and I'm downstairs.
And you summarized that you were living in a cave.
It was.
Well, you know, my favourite saying is, you know, Estelle and I did 30,000 miles on our monohull, and eventually it occurred to us that only eccentric people climb through the roof to get into their living room.
We did that many times.
Now we have a sliding door and we have same level living. So, I mean, but look, 20 years ago, cats were terrible.
That's right.
Cats have evolved over the last 20 years to where they are now pretty much as good, you know, as good as a monohull in terms of safety and world voyaging.
And I think in all seriousness, when I came into this world, I came into sailing through Terry. I knew nothing. I live in the mountains. And I came into this as, you know, this guy who was belligerent against catamarans, really, because at the time, to your point, they weren't that great. And he, rightfully so, adopted that. However, we kind of evolved through that together. Like going through 16,000 miles out there and many more elsewhere, you know, we little by little saw, you know, 20% catamarans to 30 to 40 to half of them. We always found ourselves socializing on the back of someone's cat. It was never in any of our boats, even though the ML was amazing. And truthfully, everything I like to do had to be done below. So any kind of entertaining, any of that cooking, and let's face it, cooking while you're underway was ridiculous. I was at a 25-degree heel, you know, trying to keep my pots and pans from sliding all over the countertop. And you don't have to do that on a cat, which was...
Well, we're in this anchorage. We've got you guys on your Lagoon 450. We've got Jim and Kat on their Leopard 48. Mm-hmm. We've got Stacy on their Lagoon 42. We're on a Barley. Yep. So we've got 3 different brands just in this anchorage.
Right here.
Yep. Oh, and we've got a Proud 45 back there. So that's four different brands just in this anchorage alone. And all cats. We don't see any monohulls yet because it's rather shallow.
That's true. Another big advantage.
Well, this was, for us, this was an interesting experience, jumping from, I'd say, a well-balanced ketch, ocean-going blue water cruiser to a catamaran. And 2 things were very apparent to me. First off, number 1 was the pointability wasn't as great and as tight as a monohull, but you expect that going from a monohull to a catamaran. But also, what surprised me was how good the sailability is anywhere off the wind. Dead downwind is probably a no-no on a cat. We're still learning through this, but our Lagoon 450 surprises me every single time you put those sails up. Very, very large mainsail, good sail plan. But that boat gets up and goes, and it doesn't take that much effort. It's not as finicky as a monohull where you have to trim all these sails absolutely correct within 6 inches of each other. Put the mainsail up, trim it fairly with a fair degree of accuracy, but that boat will get up and go. So the second thing that I also enjoy is you're on a stable platform that doesn't move.
Well, crew fatigue is a big issue when you're doing long passages, especially if you're short-handed. So, crew fatigue is a big issue on a cat. Our Lagoon 450, we loved it because it was like a big old Cadillac going down the road. So it was comfortable. It had a sort of enough weight to power. I mean, look, the lagoons win the Ark. Year after year, they basically win the Ark. They're very fast boats offshore in a straight line. I mean, round the cans they're a little bit heavy, but they're very good cruising boats. But crew fatigue is a big issue. Safety, if you're going up, you've got to reef. I mean, look, you're probably on your Mal you reef from the cockpit, but a lot of boats you have to go up and reef. On these boats now, everything is safer because you don't have that rolling motion which can throw you overboard.
That's right. So since we've been starting and learning the different angles and the sailability, Terry will put those sails up when there's like 11, 12 knots of wind, and then he'll be like giddy, like a little boy that we're doing 8 knots.
There you go.
And that was something that we could never see in our other boat.
Yeah.
The other thing we have is redundancy. We have 2 engines, 2 sets of fuel tanks. We've got 4 water tanks. We have a water maker on board, so there's a lot of redundancy.
2 alternators.
2 alternators, absolutely.
Solar.
Multiple ways to charge the batteries, genset, solar.
All right, well, so everybody that is looking at both monohulls and catamarans, here's some good input from dyed-in-the-wool monohullers that have converted to a catamaran.
Yep, for sure.
Got any questions? Let us have them.
So I look forward to discussing catamaran with you. I've got a lot of ocean miles under our belt, I should say. 16,000 ocean miles in the Pacific. We've made the transition from a monohull to a catamaran, and I have a lot of interesting experiences to share with you. I look forward to having the discussion with you.